Hello everyone, Shakir here. Welcome back to the channel for another episode of Last Week in Sports. First up, we talk about Formula 1. Two races to discuss this week. First, the race day in Spa. It was pretty disappointing to not get a race in due to horrible weather conditions. The race was really wet from Thursday to Saturday. Sunday was no different. The race started under safety car and they completed 2 laps and they went back into the pit again, so some points could be salvaged from the race. So basically there was no big change from the qualifying positions, and since only 2 laps were completed, only half the points were awarded. The race results were Verstappen finished first, Russell second, Hamilton third, Ricciardo fourth, his best finish this year, Vettel 5, Gasly 6, Ocon 7, Leclerc 8, Latifi 9, and Sainz taking away the last 0.5 point. There was a short podium celebrations. It was really nice to see Russell on the podium, the first of his career, and hopefully many more to come. We move on to the Dutch Grand Prix in Zandvoort, where F1's made a comeback after 36 years. Being Verstappen's home Grand Prix, the stands were filled with orange, full of his supporters, and he did not disappoint them. Hamilton was the fastest in FP1, followed by Verstappen and Sainz. Vettel had an engine failure, which red flagged the session. The Ferraris dominated the FP2, Leclerc fastest, Sainz coming second, Ocon was third fastest. Kimi Räikkönen, who announced his retirement from Formula 1 end of the season, tested positive for COVID-19. Robert Kubica replaced him in the qualifying and in the race. In Q3, Haas teammates Mazepin and Mick Schumacher had a tiff on the track, which blocked the way for Sebastian Vettel during his flying lap. Perez didn't have a good run as well, and he finished 16th. The cars which got eliminated in Q3 were Mazepin, Schumacher, Kubica, Vettel, and Perez. In Q2, Russell set really good times and was pushing his limits before he went off track and crashed into the wall. His teammate Latifi had a crash as well, which red flagged the session. Because of this, Lando Norris couldn't better his position and he finished at 13th. The cars which got eliminated in Q2 were Tsunoda, Latifi, Norris, Stroll, and Russell. Q1 was all about clash between Max and the two Mercedes. Verstappen was setting really good times. Hamilton tried to match him but ended up 200th of a second behind. Max got his 10th pole of his career, 6th in the season, showing his dominance. The Q1 results were Verstappen first, Hamilton second, Bottas third, Gasly fourth, Leclerc fifth, Sainz sixth, Giovinazzi came in surprise seventh, Ocon eighth, Alonso ninth, and Ricciardo finishing 10th. In the race, both Max and Lewis got off to a great start. But Max was able to generate a lot of pace and generated a gap in the third corner itself. Lewis pitted in the 20th lap. Max followed him in the 21st lap, which gave the lead to Bottas, who was on the one-stop strategy. Max and Lewis were on two-stop strategies. They were able to generate a lot of pace and caught up to Bottas. Bottas was able to hold on Max for a bit, which reduced the gap between Max and Lewis from 3.5 seconds to under a second. But once Max passed Bottas, he was able to generate more pace and he increased the gap again to more than 3 seconds. Bottas pitted in the 67th lap and he set the fastest lap in spite of his team radio asking him not to go for it. But Lewis pitted in the 70th lap and was able to get the fastest lap in the final lap of the race to get him the one important point. In the midfield, there was a great battle going on between fellow Spaniards, Alonso and Sainz. Alonso was able to keep Sainz at bay and he finished 6th. Gasly was in a league of his own and he was able to pass Alonso with ease. In the final stages of the race, there was a good battle between Lando and Perez. Perez won the battle, but only after the contact between two cars, that too twice. The race result was Verstappen first, Hamilton second, Bottas third, Gasly fourth, Leclerc fifth, Alonso sixth, Sainz seventh, Perez eighth, Ocon ninth, Lando Norris 10th, who got the last point. Ricciardo once again had a disappointing race, finishing 11th. When Verstappen won the race, the entire grandstand was filled with orange smoke by his supporters. The board even read turn up for Max. That was pretty cool. With the win, Verstappen has now taken back the lead in the Drivers' Championship by 3 points. Bottas is now in the third spot. Mercedes, finishing second and third, have consolidated their lead in the Constructors by 12 points. Ferrari, with a good performance in this race, have got the third spot now, leading McLaren by 11.5 points. This weekend, we head to Monza, Italy. It's promising to be a great race. Next up is tennis. The last Grand Slam of the year, US Open, is happening in New York right now. In the women's singles, Coco Gauff lost to Sloane Stephens in round 2. Sloane Stephens lost to Kerber in round 3. Naomi Osaka lost a third round match to Canadian teenager Lila Fernandez in 3 sets. Osaka was serving for the match in the second set, but she lost the game and eventually lost the set in a tiebreaker. Osaka took a break after the second set, but Lila had the momentum and she went on to win the third set. World number 1 Ash Barty lost a third round match to Shelby Rogers in 3 sets. Barty was serving for the match in the third set, but she lost the game and Shelby Rogers won the set in the tiebreaker. This was the 5th time they faced each other this year. Barty had won all 4 encounters before this, but Shelby Rogers got the better of Barty this time. Bianca Andreescu, the 2019 champion, has been in great form and is through to the 4th round, losing just 1 set. Svitolina bet Simona Halep in the 4th round. Lila Fernandez is through to the quarterfinals by beating Kerber in the 4th round. The women's championship is wide open now with Barty and Osaka out. The top contenders are Sabalenka, Svitolina, Andreescu and Pliskova. In the men's championship, Nick Kyrgios was out in the first round. Tsitsipas played Andy Murray in the first round. What a match it turned out to be. Tsitsipas won the match in 5 sets, which went on for 4 hours and 49 minutes. Even though Tsitsipas won the match, Murray won a lot of hearts. Hopefully he comes back next year as well. In another shocker, 18-year-old Spaniard Carlos Alcaraz defeated Tsitsipas in 5 sets in the third round match. Alcaraz has been hailed as the next Rafa by Tony Nadal, who is Rafa's uncle and also Rafa's ex-coach. World number 1 Novak Djokovic is through to the 4th round. He has not been at his best, but that has been good enough to take him through week 1. Rublev went out in round 3. Zverev and Berrettini are through to the 4th round. Alcaraz and Medvedev are through to the quarterfinals. Shot of the week for me was Daniil Medvedev's surprise volley in his second round match against Dominic Kopfer. Lot of tennis to be played in the week 2. Let's see who wins the championship. Next up is football. In transfer news, Mbappe's deal between PSG and Real Madrid fell over. Mbappe will be spending this year in PSG after all. Next year he becomes a free agent. I'm sure Real Madrid will pick him up then. We have a break of 11 days till the next match in all the European leagues. The next match is on September 11th. But there were a few games played on last Sunday. Let's see what happened. From England in EPL, Tottenham bet Watford 1-0 in their home game. Man United bet the Wolves 1-0 in their away game. Tottenham are sitting on top of the table with 3 wins from 3 matches, followed by West Ham, Chelsea and Liverpool. Arsenal is in the bottom of the table, losing all 3 of their matches. From Spain in La Liga, Barcelona defeated Getafe 2-1 in their home game. Atletico Madrid drew their home game with Villarreal 2-2. Real Madrid is in the top of the table, followed by Sevilla, Villarreal, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid and Mallorca. Interestingly, all these 6 teams are in the same points. From France in Ligue 1, Lille bet Montpellier 2-1 in their home game. PSG bet Reims 2-0 in their away game. PSG are on top of the table with 4 consecutive wins, followed by Angers. From Italy in Serie A, Roma bet Salernitana 4-0 in their away game. Milan bet Cagliari 4-1 in their home game. Lazio is number 1, Inter Milan 2, Rome 3, Milan 4, Napoli 5. All these teams have won both their games so far. From Germany in Bundesliga, Bayern Munich bet Hertha 5-0 in their home game. Wolfsburg bet RB Leipzig 1-0 in their home game. Wolfsburg, after winning all 3 matches, are on top of the table. Leverkusen are number 2, Bayern is number 3. Next up is cricket. First, the 3-match ODI series between Sri Lanka and South Africa played in Sri Lanka. 2 matches were concluded last week. Sri Lanka had good really promising against India. They seem to be an up-and-coming team with a lot of talented youngsters. South Africa is a similar team as well with a lot to prove. So this was turning out to be a really good contest. In the first ODI, Sri Lanka won the toss and elected to bat first. They had a really good start. Openers put on 57 runs. They also put on 79 runs for the third wicket and 97 runs for the fourth wicket. Sri Lanka ended with 300 for 9 in their 50 overs. Avishka Fernando got 118 and Charit Asalanka scored 72. Keshav Maharaj was amazing and he ended with 2 for 30 from his 10 overs. South Africa started really well with an opening partnership of 49. They had 100 plus partnership for the second wicket, but their captain Bavuma got retired hurt, which was a big blow to them. They had good partnerships going on after that, but were always scoring behind the required rate. Finally, they ended up 14 runs less than Sri Lanka's total. Aiden Markham missed his century by 4 runs and was the top scorer. Vander Dusen scored a quick fire 59. Akila Dhananjaya picked up 2 wickets. Player of the match was Avishka Fernando. In the second ODI, South Africa won the toss and elected to bat first. There was a rain delay and the match was reduced to 47 overs even before South Africa came into bat. South Africa got a decent start and had several partnerships going. The best was 97 runs partnership between Malan and Hendricks. South Africa finished with 283 for 6 in 47 overs. Malan got 121 and Hendricks got 51. Chamika Karunaratne picked 2 for 24 from his 5 overs. This time around, South Africa did some heavy damage to the Sri Lankan top order and it was tough for Sri Lanka to recover from that and score more than 6 runs an over. Due to further rain, Sri Lanka's target was revised to 265 in 41 overs. Sri Lanka were bowled out for 197 and lost the match by 67 runs. Asalanka top scored with 77. Shashmi picked up 5 for 49, his first fifer. The player of the match was Malan. The series is levelled at 1-1 with one more match to go. Next is Bangladesh vs New Zealand T20I series. It's a 5-match series which 3 matches completed so far. In the first T20I, New Zealand won the toss and elected to bat first. And boy, they had a horrible day with their bat. Bangladesh opened their bowling with 2 spinners, Mehdi Hassan and Nusum. They went to the top order along with the one change bowler, Shakibul Hasan. The pacers who came in later cleaned up the remaining batsmen. New Zealand were dismissed for 60, equaling their lowest T20 score ever. In reply, Bangladesh had a couple of hiccups in the start, but Shakibul Hasan played a cameo and took them out of danger. Bangladesh chased down the score in 15 overs, losing just 3 wickets. This was the first ever win for Bangladesh against New Zealand in a T20 match. In the second T20I, Bangladesh won the toss and elected to bat first. They had a decent start and the openers gave them a decent start and there were cameos from most of their batsmen. The top scorer was opener Naeem with 39, followed by their captain Mohammadullah who was unbeaten at 37. Bangladesh finished with 141 for 6. New Zealand spinner Ravindra picked up 3 for 26. Since the start of the chase, New Zealand was always behind their required run rate. But their captain Top Latham was in the crease and they still had a chance. The match went down to the wire with Tom Latham on strike and 6 runs needed from the last ball, but he managed to score just 1. Bangladesh won the second match by 4 runs and went 2-0 up in the series. The player of the match was captain Mohammadullah. In the third T20I, it was a must-win game for New Zealand to keep the series alive, and they were really determined to win this match. New Zealand won the toss and elected to bat first, and they didn't lose a lot of early wickets. They kept scoring at 6 runs an over throughout the match and ended up with 128 for 5 in their 20 overs. Henry Nicholls top scored with 38 not out. Saifuddin picked up 2 for 28 from his 4 overs. Bangladesh got off to a really good start, but once they lost Litan Das, they lost wickets in a hurry and were bundled out for 76. New Zealand spinner Ajaz Patel picked up 4 for 16 from his 4 overs and was declared man of the match as well. The series is interestingly poised with 2 games to go. What a run Bangladesh have been having, They bet Australia 4-1 and they are up 2-1 against New Zealand. They are going to be a tough team to beat in this year's World T20 to be played in UAE. That brings us to the end of this week's episode. Coming up in the next week's episode, we have the interestingly poised fourth test between England versus India happening in the Oval, continuation of Bangladesh versus New Zealand T20I series, and Sri Lanka versus South Africa ODI series. Race weekend from Monza, Italy, more football action, and week 2 of the US Open. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know what you all think in the comments. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also check out the food and travel blog of me and my wife. The link is in the description below. Have a great week everyone. I'll see you all soon. Bye.